Very, very briefly, Phobos Group, we're a tiny shop. We do super tailored custom stuff. We're not where you go to get your compliance pen testing unless you really want, but like we do this. But I'll save that for later. We can talk about this after the fact. This is like if you want to hire us for an hour at a time or whatever, that's cool too. But so what are we going to go over? Previous research. Why is this 2.0? Who does this? This deck was prepared initially for not this crowd. These answers are very obvious to everyone here, especially after yesterday. What are the use case scenarios? Well, if you're one of us in this room, well, you have interesting stuff that maybe lives on your equipment or near your equipment, or your equipment goes near more interesting equipment, and use your imagination. And then use case scenarios and some crafty tricks and just mind-blowing me gushing about Home Assistant. First, the tenet of this stuff, the entire point of Home Assistant, the reason that people gush about this is because it's anti-cloud. I talk a lot of smack about the cloud. I have this phrase that I've been using for a couple of years now. Go to the cloud, they said. It'll be fine, they said. I'm up to like 200 posts. It's every single time there is news, and this is like 3 or 4 times a week at this point, there's some absolute lunacy that the cloud did. It goes on and on and on. And like, if all you want to do is turn on a light, if all you want to do is like look at the temperature of your smoker, why are you going to the cloud for that? The thing's 5 feet away. Like, so yeah, right? I think this will be near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. I think I'll be enlightening people. Like, I think I will create some Home Assistant nerds and we can all nerd out about this together. Absolutely fun. Super, super great stuff. If you know this much YAML and this much Python, you will be a wizard. It's so good. I cannot gush more about this. So, history. Most of the people here, I'm presuming, have been to DEF CON on Black Hat. There was that nasty shooting. That thing happened. Then suddenly there were like hotel room checks, and then some genius discovered that you can just go to eBay and buy the polo shirt for the hotel security and overnight it to your room, and then now you're hotel security. And so like you can just walk into people's rooms. And then it was a thing, and it was in the news. It got really ugly. There were like articles about it. If there's Venture Brothers fans in the room, the first version of this talk was entirely themed Venture Brothers, and it gave it to a crowd of people in Sweden that had never seen the show. So that was fucking awesome. But lots of articles. It was a very big deal. Like, it was a thing. I don't know why people kept going to those conferences after that. If you're like, I'm a privacy advocate, but I'm going to a conference where people can just rob me. What? But or maybe work made you go. So yeah, version 1 there was this website called Brickhouse Security that allegedly sold these like law enforcement only hidden cameras. And so version 1, and this is if you saw Silas and Mark's talk, like this guy and this guy talked P2P over the internet to China, and the only way to get internet connectivity was like you light up a, like in this case I'm using a GL-iNet Slate AX. I was, for this talk in 2019, I was using the previous version of the GL-iNet Slate, the original one. And so little tiny in-room travel router powered by USB, really cool from a networking nerd perspective. But all these other cameras, not networked. They were like hidden, chintzy nonsense. They were egregiously overpriced. Like that's like $2 or $3 grand worth of cameras, and it's like 15 cents worth of cheap Chinese OEM nonsense. But yeah, so version 1 was largely how you hide these cameras in your room and the camera placement so that they are placed pointing at each other. Because if somebody does gain access to your room, they can just take your cameras and then you're done. Like, oops. So you have to have the cameras pointing at each other, and at least one of them has to be like, anyway, there was a whole thing, and that doesn't really matter anymore because Home Assistant, right? Fake hotel security is a very narrow circumstance. Maybe this slide is not landing quite the same on this crowd because like, you guys do way more interesting work than the other folks that I've presented to. What is actually more common? Well, a kid sticking a bunch of gum wrappers in the door so that the shank doesn't go into the strike plate and the door just stays open. You can just open the door. Or our lovely favorite, the K22 under the door tool, which is like $6 of stuff you can buy at Home Depot. Stick it under the door, reach up, pull the thing down. I'm sure you all know the drill. Less common, more interesting, Flipper Zero. Like 1 or 2 people are like, oh cool, I can clone my card and do the thing. Great. Then there's the Proxmark, which is 100,000 trillion years old that we were using in 2009 or something like that, when I rode my dinosaur to work in my loincloth. Because this year has been 600 years. And then and this is one of my favorite, by far and away my favorite, some genius among men discovered that there's like a hotel room door like unit, and if you stick a barrel connector into the bottom, it like squirts bits out, and if you just catch those bits and count to 5 and spray them back in, the door opens. And he was like, what? And so he put it into a marker and was cruising around DEF CON just going boop, 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 and just opening doors. And I'm like, yes, so good. But like, it's way easier to just like sweet talk the front desk, which I did at Layer 1 a couple of times during their contest and made it into the wrong room for that contest. And yeah, that was a whole story. Sweet talk people in the lobby, honey trap, the common stuff. Everybody's been to the ShmooCon, LobbyCon, and that was a thing. Social engineering techniques. It's a lot easier to get into somebody's room by just using your mouth and your body than it is to, wait, that maybe came out wrong, but maybe that comes later. But like, you can use technology. That's one avenue by which to gain access to a room, or you can do what, you know, they do, just like, what is it, Kool-Aid Man smash through the wall, oh yeah, because they leave their camera in and the whole thing. Why? Well, this is no surprise to anybody in this room. Maybe you write Ode, maybe your friend writes Ode, maybe you work somewhere interesting or sit next to somebody who works somewhere interesting. Maybe you're dating or married to somebody that works somewhere interesting. Maybe you're not the real target and they just derped and they just broke into the wrong room, because that happens too. So like, why the boring version? Well, maybe you cruise through a Vegas lobby wearing like $50,000 of clothing and jewelry, and somebody went, I want that to be mine now, and they just wait till you go to your room and they follow you to your room and then they just take it. Or they do the Gillis thing, whatever, and they put the hotel security polo on and pretend that they're hotel security and rob you that way. Maybe they learned maintenance bypasses for the garbage tier hotel room safes, and they want to go try the default password on every safe on a floor, and they have the marker or something. So there's a bunch of different reasons, largely sort of outside of this crowd, because you guys do way more interesting work than I do, and people will want access to your stuff more than they will mine, because who wants this? You can just buy it. P2P kind of sucks. The first go around, like, it was not great. Motion detection is absolutely garbage. Like, if you're depending on the camera itself to do anything interesting to alert you or tell you that something bad is happening, you're gonna have a bad time. It's gonna suck. This was me, I think this was KiwiCon. Like 2018 or something like that, but it sucked. The camera was very expensive, very terrible, and it was one of the only things that talked on the network, and that was like, it was cool that you could stick it in the peephole, but that was the only cool thing about it. The rest of it was just crap. So P2P slow, noisy, and not covert, and again, if you went to one of the previous talks, now we know that they're intentionally spying, and it's bad, and it's really stupid. It's flaky, it's unreliable, it uses clouds. Why are we using the cloud? Anyway. Home Assistant is a thing. As it turns out, Home Assistant is a universal adapter for all kinds of automation, and you can plug an embarrassingly ridiculous large number of things into it, up to and including networking appliances like pfSense and Unify, which I am doing. I don't have time to get into it in this talk. Find me in the hallway, and I will continue to talk your ear off about it and show you demos and stuff, but it's nuts. This is a stack of like, so if you think of how like government entities in various countries do collections, they'll collect like some little nugget of information that on its own is innocuous, like your name or your age or something like that. This thing like, oh, I'm collecting what? The luminosity in the room. I can tell if the lights are on. Cool, what kind of a big deal is that? Oh, I'm listening, I'm capturing CO2 and some other stuff. But like, when you start stacking these things and cross-referencing them against each other, plus maybe you add a camera, plus maybe you add some cool other sensors we'll get into in a second, things get really interesting really fast. So this is the general architecture. There's a travel router. The travel router talks Wi-Fi and Ethernet. Home Assistant is attached via Ethernet. It can be via Wi-Fi if you want, but you don't want the core thing that's doing all your decision making to be able to get like man in the middle or de-offed. So physically connect that way. Your phone talks via Wi-Fi to the thing. You have your own little travel network. Everything lives inside your travel network. In this case, it's a WireGuard VPN outbound to a pfSense box and a colo. And there's because I'm a lunatic, OSPF running there. And then it talks to like my homeland and my phone and like I have some family and friends and my wife and stuff that we're all going into this thing. And there's routes and rules. It's nuts. It's kind of a hub and spoke architecture, but essentially the travel router is the middle and Home Assistant is like the platform upon which all the automation lies. And that's the sort of the crux of all of it. The TLDR simple version is it's just a line. Home Assistant talks to the travel router does Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi. Like literally this router is on the LABScon Wi-Fi. It's VPNing via WireGuard back to San Diego. That's how it works. Pretty straightforward. The sensors, this is where things get interesting. There's an RNet4 home sensor that's detecting CO2, and there's a little circular doodad that does PIR and luminosity and temperature and humidity. The Zooz sensor, it talks a protocol called Z-Wave. It's like the new fancier thing after Zigbee. There are tons, just look up Z-Wave sensors. There are tons and tons and tons of things that you can hang off of one of these little guys that they talk Z-Wave. Z-Wave has a pretty good range, like surprisingly good because I think it's 900 megahertz. And if you power the thing, it acts as a repeater. And so if you can, this is where it gets tricky. You want to see around corners, you want to see past concrete, you want to see past metal. Stick one in a hallway, give it USB, call it throwaway, ignore the sensors. It's just a relay. Interesting, right? You can count how many people are in a room based on their breathing. Like, there's a live demo, and I'll show you like the CO2 for this room, and maybe you'll like be, oh shit, we need masks again. But like this is kind of the star of the show. This little guy that I'm sure you all seen here, like what the fuck is going on here? This is a Apollo Automation millimeter wave sensor. They're like $40. They were explicitly designed to work with Home Assistant for the purpose of PIR sensors don't do so great when the things that people that you're measuring aren't moving. Has anybody ever gone into an office or a bathroom and sat still long enough and the lights turn off? The people that made this are like, that's the problem they were solving for. This thing is literally radar. It's the same millimeter wave technology they put in the big nudie scanners at the airport. The objective of this thing is to it's called presence detection. You want to know if there are people in a room, and this one can detect up to 3 moving targets. There's a demo. But the idea is you can sit as perfectly still as you want, and this thing can still tell that you're there. So like your fans won't turn off and your lights won't turn off. The hang up is, or maybe that's not a hang up, they can kind of see through walls. Not these, I tested, I've been here all day freaking out, trying to figure out how it's gonna make the live demo go. So I've got one wired to the back of the door. So like at some point I'm gonna send somebody running through the door and we'll see, yes, they shoot through the door. They talk Wi-Fi. So they get power via USB, they talk 2.4 gig Wi-Fi to the router. Then my favorite Axis camera. Axis is my current favorite brand. I gush about them a bit because they're solid, they're resilient, anyway, I can go on at length, but like, they don't phone home, there's no cloud, everything's local, they have an API, they talk MQTT, they have all sorts of weird stuff you can install onto them, they have like person detection if you want, like it's nuts, that's a rabbit hole. I have an embarrassing number of Axis cameras in my house, it's like 15, it's stupid. Yeah, come near my house, I dare you. So yeah, like this is the universe. Oh, and is the GIF not playing? Come on. Do it. Oh, boo. Boo, internet, boo. Anyway, what is it? Anyway, TLDR. This is the universe. Home Assistant is the middle of the universe. Home Assistant, again, is a universal adapter for automation. If you want to make a rule that says if this, then that, and you don't want to go to like Yahoo Pipes or the cloud for that, Home Assistant, there's your solution. It's fantastic, it is glorious. We can measure stuff just by looking at CO2. This is a previous screenshot, but you can tell when did a new person arrive in the room? Roughly 7 a.m., right? When did people leave? 8:30. When did everyone leave? Roughly 9. When did we come back? Oh, at noon, and we were apparently out of breath. Like, just the CO2 alone tells a story. And so we get to see a live graph for that one, for this room, soon. Then you have, let's see what's next. Come on, what are you doing? Right, luminosity, illuminance, this little Zeus sensor. Why do we care if we can detect the light? Well, if you have a hotel room here, the back of your hotel room faces to the west, you're going to catch the sunset, and so you'll see sun coming through. If your blinds are closed, your shades are closed, and somebody comes into your room through a window or a sliding glass door, and more light enters the room, and they look in and they see all this shit and go, fuck that, and they leave, you can tell, because the light changed, and you're measuring the light. And maybe they scream, maybe you got it on the CO2, maybe, but like, it's bonkers. This is commercial stuff. This is not the Ant catalog. This is like a few, like, I don't know, it's probably $2,000 worth of stuff that you could just buy online. This is a historic view over time from that sensor that's been aimed at the stage today. So like, this is a screenshot from earlier today. And so you can count who went on stage and how long they were on stage. So you can see how long it takes to like mic people up and how long it takes to, they had multiple presenters or things like that. Then you have like, this is the radar card that I built. This was a lot. This is like most of the work for this entire talk was building this like alien motion detector card. This is the live view, and you can see dots moving around in X, Y through objects, which is, you can just buy this stuff. Thank you to Julia and Kevin for being my guinea pigs last night, because this is a picture from in front of my room last night, and all three of us were being read by the sensor through the door from like 10 feet away. So like, I've never measured more than one person, because it's always just been me doing this crazy nonsense, like Brent Spiner from ID4, like crazy hair guy, on my own. And so it was fun to try with other people. I'm like, cool, I had meat shields, like literal actual meat shields that reflect radar. It works, holy crap. So, many people have asked, like, what is the clarity of this technology? Like, what is the smallest object I can see? How far will this go? Like, I want details. And so I live next to somebody who has a kid that plays lacrosse, and lacrosse balls keep ending up in my backyard. So I put one of these things on, I stuck the USB power into the wall, and I sat the thing right on top of the USB power, and then like I walked 10 feet away and I sort of just tossed the ball, and it absolutely can track a lacrosse ball. So, but that's naked. It's not behind an object. It's not behind an obfuscation of any kind. This is like, you can see it. Also, you're probably seeing it blinking. That's intentional. I made that. That's an automation that's running through Home Assistant. If you don't want it to blink, it does not blink by default. That is literally entirely for theatrics, so that you can tell if the moving target count goes above 0, the light goes on. And so every time I'm moving, it goes above 0, and then I stand still long enough and it stops for a sec. But like, that's it going, there's a dude there. Right, so this was, oh, come on, internet. I did not sacrifice enough goats to the demo gods. Last night, during, oh yeah, I'm on the wrong network. Sorry, hopefully this goes quickly. Oh, back on like, thanks. Come on. Okay. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. Okay, but you see him there, right? So I'm sat front row yesterday, and I made an automation that says if the Q sensor detects motion, send a push notification with a screenshot from the camera to my phone. That is something that you would like pay a subscription service for, like Arlo or Ring or whatever, and the cloud gets your data, and Ring will just let the cops into your cameras, and like, don't pay for that, just build it. It's like you pay for it once and you have it forever, and then you have this like endless cornucopia of stuff you can automate with Home Assistant. So like, this is trivial to build. I made this automation in like 3 minutes. It's just built into Home Assistant. And so I saw a radar signature, and then I saw the motion sensor go off, and I'm like, oh no, did somebody actually go into my room while, oh my God, this is gonna make a fantastic slide deck. Oh, right? But like, no, sadly, it was like the AC blowing the drapes around, and they moved a little bit, and the sensor went off. Okay, so live demo. This is live. This is like, radar 2, the one in the center, is this one, and radar 1 is the door. And so you can see we have our friend by the door. Oh, hey, look, see? Like live stuff. So like this is the Home Assistant demo. I should probably need a refresh. But yeah, so we got like live radar signatures. The one at the door is like the sensors on the other side of the door. So if you actually go and look, you can actually see that I've gaff taped one of those doodads to the outside of the door, and we're shooting radar, 10 gigahertz millimeter wave radar through the door, and we're seeing signatures that are reflected back. And so you lose depth. Like you can't see 100 feet, but you can see 10 or 15 feet, like easily. This card is configured to expect that the use case scenario is like the hallway of a hotel or something. It can probably go farther, and if you go into the actual API in the thing, it runs a little web server. You can tune the radar, and you can like change, not the frequency, but you can change output power, and you can change various thresholds and stuff. There's all these little sliders, so you can fully configure. It's nuts. I haven't gone quite that far, but like this is just a dashboard. This is the Home Assistant dashboard for this, and you can see like moving targets over time, the CO2 in the room. You can tell like, this is me being late, like via a graph. Like luminosity, like if I go over here and I like cover up the thing, you'll see it like, it takes like, it's got like a 20 second, 10, 15, 20 second refresh. That thing should just like spike down, and then I'll like let go of it again and it'll come back up. But like, yeah, anyway, I was like, there you go. So you just crashed. And then I let go of it and I walk away and it comes back up. So like fairly responsive. It's not super instant, but it's fairly responsive. And then I have like this here is like motion over time. And so this is the Q sensor detecting motion. This is the Q sensor detecting light. And then I gave this talk in February at HackCon, and people brought toothbrushes. Like Oral-B makes a Bluetooth-enabled smart toothbrush, and over here on the left, you'll get like a pop-up that says, hey, we detected literally verbatim, hey, we detected a new device, click here to check it out. And I clicked, and it said Oral-B, and I had the logo, and I'm like, what? So you can track people by the RSSI of their toothbrush, which is nuts. And so like, I have an Oura ring. This is a little blue BTLE doodad. Other people here are wearing these things. There is currently not a signature that I'm aware of for Home Assistant to see this device. But we can just write one. So like, if you want to nerd out about this stuff, just pick a Bluetooth device that security nerds bring to cons, and then like figure out what the packets look like and tell Home Assistant. Then attach it to a battery and put it in your bag. And that's it. Now you have a collection apparatus on you. And it was like, what, that's like $150. It's bonkers. So, again, it's an hour talk that I'm smushing down into 25 minutes, and I'm very over-caffeinated, so bear with me. Right. This is what it looks like deployed. It's literally just that thing gaff-taped attached to a battery, and that's literally what's happening. And I'll leave that so you guys can have a look, and please feel free to come and look at this stuff. So it's all fairly simple, but it's nice to look at it, right? But that's how it was deployed. This was, I think, Oslo, and I was looking at the hallway. Right. I'm technically over time. TLDR, there's a lot of sensors. You can stack them all together. They all collate together, and then you can, from there, derive who did what, when, with how many people. Did they, like, if there's a camera involved, you can then trigger the camera if you want. You don't have to do this in your room, per se, because a lot of these devices do talk Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. If you want to be sneaky about it, you can put them in someone else's room and listen to them through the wall. Or if you don't want them to be found, assuming the walls are the correct material, you gaff tape them to the wall and you just shoot radar through the wall. And then you can, like if you had, my ideal demo for this was 5 of these sensors all in a row, and then I would send a runner into the other room and you could see them light up as the runner would traverse the room there and back. It just makes for a very simple, very theatrical visual demo of like, holy shit, we can see through walls. So the other caveat to this is, this isn't super SIGINT friendly because it's like a fireworks show as far as radio goes. There's like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi going everywhere. So like, can you find this stuff? Yes, probably, but like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi is also already kind of everywhere. So like there are certain scenarios where you could see under certain circumstances, having this anomalous, gigantic spray of packets would be an interesting thing to investigate. But yeah, you have cross-domain triggers. And I call them cross-domain triggers because, security nerd, there's pfSense plugins, there's Unified plugins, MikroTik, they talk MQTT. And if you do SCADA and OT stuff, then you know about MQTT. And like, oh my God, you can take every single tiny log entry, everything that happens on one Home Assistant installation, pipe it over MQTT, over WireGuard, and catch it with another Home Assistant installation. And so you can have like a mothership Home Assistant install on like something with actual iron, and you can have a whole bunch of these wherever you want. And if they get burned, cool, whatever, the logs are still over here. And that works with the cameras, it works with the alerts, it works with all the stuff. And so you can have like ephemeral, disposable, it depends on your appetite for destroying equipment, but like there's a lot of crazy stuff that you can do with this equipment. Future concepts, growing all this stuff together, making like a collection network if you wanted, like depending on the use case, whatever you want to do with it. For example, if you run a red team shop and you're running 5 gigs at the same time, you can provide oversight and have like all 5 gigs raw data phoning home to the mothership for accountability. There's a bunch of use cases. So, yeah, this was the toothbrushes. Like, I was tracking people, and that's what it looked like. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, that was a thing to scream about. I don't know why a toothbrush would broadcast this stuff, but it also broadcasts like what settings it's in. Like, why do I need to know as a weirdo hacker guy at a con in the back of the room, like jumping up and down, freaking out about this, trying not to interrupt the presenter about why I know that some guy's toothbrush changed to Intense and then to Gum Care and then to Whiten via Home Assistant? What? Like, think of this and then think of like the other stuff you can plug into it if we knew how to plug the protocol in. Like if we can, it's a rabbit hole. Oh my God, I get really excited about this stuff because it's nuts. So the TLDR, millimeter wave can kind of see through walls. Kind of a big deal. Home Assistant is like a universal adapter for automation, and you should absolutely get into it because, oh boy. There are multiple ways to do presence detection. Don't pick one, stack them. It is possible to set up multiple HA instances to talk to each other and collate data. That's really cool. And despite not being specialized equipment, for what this is surprisingly effective signals intelligence without even trying. Like, this is accidental SIGINT. So with that, I'm sorry, I'll let you go to your drinks. Here's my contact information. Please take a picture, find me online. I'm on Mastodon. I'm not on the Mecha Hitler platform. I encourage you to bail on the Mecha Hitler platform. Fuck that place. Find me, ask me about the stuff. I'm happy to nerd out. I'm happy to give you demos. I'm happy to help you with your first Home Assistant install. Let's all hack together. Thank you very much. Please enjoy your drinks.
All right, no one has like tried to kick us out yet, have they?
I don't see anybody running for the door, which I guess is a good sign.
Yeah.
Questions?
Questions?
Did somebody want to fling a knife? Fire when ready.
Why doesn't Bluetooth randomize the MAC addresses? I thought this was like the Bluetooth MAC address randomization was like a big thing. So how do you track the RSS while it moves?
That's like a vendor opt-in thing. Like, how does my, okay, so think of it this way. BTLE tends not to do pairing, right? If you have a device that is not like authenticated or official, like regular Bluetooth has pairing, right? So that's one thing. You can have like your pairing code and a different MAC address, and that can it's a software thing, right? You can juggle that and you can probably make it work. But with something as dinky as like this tiny little ring, like if the phone doesn't know the MAC address of my ring, then it stops getting telemetry from my ring, and it can't tell that I'm stressed, or I can't tell that I'm like gonna explode or what have you. So like it functions as a key indicator. So like phones and laptops, yes, there's like a toggle now you can turn on and have randomization. But for fitness trackers, glucose meters, other health stuff, the other things, older equipment, that feature doesn't exist, or it can't be implemented because of the nature of the device. Anyone else? More.
Say money is not an object. What's the next sensor you add to this package?
So apparently, while I was doing the research for this, it turns out Texas Instruments makes like the big boy version of these sensors, and it's like designed to like you put it on a post and you aim it at a parking lot, and it'll count the cars in the parking lot, and like you can combine. So these cameras will also do APLR, right? ALPR, automatic license plate reading. And again, no cloud. It's not phoning home. This is not Flock or whatever. But like, you can run it all locally, and you can combine something like millimeter wave plus LiDAR plus ALPR, and now you're like getting, I guess I don't know if it's SIGINT or OSINT. It's some kind of int off of cars or people. You can count people, and so probably I would probably go heavy on the millimeter wave, because like these things are cool, but they can only see 3 people each, and so I want like somebody give me a budget to make like the interesting version of this, because I want to be able to shoot through walls and count everyone. Like one of the things that I would love to be able to tell is like I want to plaster these to a wall, and I want to see like when they come and when they go and how many people they come with and they go with enough resolution to tell, like I can fingerprint somebody and I can tell that this is person A and this is person B. Like that would be cool. You can do that with Wi-Fi at an academic level, but there's like posts and there's measurements, and like you have to have a lab conditions. This is not lab conditions. So zero budget, I would probably go with millimeter wave first, and then I would go incredibly deep on fingerprinting as many Bluetooth things as I like. Give me a what do you call it? A think tank and a bunch of nerds, and let us go to Best Buy and find all the popular stuff that people get. Remember Strava? Remember the Strava hack? Like, or not hack, but like people discovered like, oh, there's secret military bases because people are like their fitness trackers are reporting to the cloud. Let's do that, but with Bluetooth. Like, I want to fingerprint Bluetooth to the extent that I want to be able to plug a battery into Home Assistant and just carry it around, and it'll just be like fitness trackers and weird Bluetooth things and headphones and earpieces and earbuds and like that. That's where I would start with and see how exciting that was, and then see what the yield was, and then make the next decision, I think. Does that help? Is that good? Or, hey, no, Axon. All of Axon's shit sprays BTLE, so you can make a cop detector. You can, no shit, like their holsters are Axon, and their body cams are Axon, and it's BTLE. And so, like,
There is a list of great.
so like, use your imagination. Like, shit gets wild if we put a tiny bit of code into what's already there. Like, take Home Assistant and put stuff in. Oh yeah, sorry, they weren't there. Okay, I'm getting there. I'm gonna kill you. I want my drinks now signal.
No, that was excellent. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you for having.
Happy hour.